Today is December 25th. The market is closed on Monday in observance of Christmas Day. Today is Christmas, but tomorrow it's observed. It has been a long and arduous journey becoming a day trader. I'm beginning to believe that day trading is like obtaining a college degree. And I talked about this. The things that are required to become consistently profitable requires several disciplines that are specifically tailored for being a day trader. And one of them is emotion. Emotion and the understanding of the self seems to be one of the criterias to being a consistently profitable day trader. Then the second part is the technical part of how the stocks move. And the other part is understanding the underlying micro and a macroeconomics of the world that impacts the stocks. And it seems to those things develop into forming a curriculum for becoming a day trader. And it does not happen overnight, and it takes a while. A focused, concentrated, knowledge-based information. Someone who has gone through these steps, who is able to step by step guide another person, um, like a mentor, would allow an individual to essentially become the person who has been mentoring the individual. Until then, it is essentially just stacking, gathering information, having an open mind, and then stacking and stacking and stacking and gathering, and then attempting to. It seems to be a giant puzzle. It's like a 5,000 piece puzzle that is essentially blue. It's just blue, a single color. And then once everything is constructed together, then I can say to myself, ah, that's how it's done. It seems like that's what day trading is. It's a very, very complex discipline. And I create an imagery. Hopefully, once I become consistently profitable, I will be able to maybe write a little children's book concerning how to move to the moon. And I have a cousin who is an artist who might be able to illustrate that for me, and I can put it on Amazon and sell it for individuals. That is essentially a very, very simple formation of what day trading is. And then there's beyond that, there's an immense amount of studies that's required. So essentially, I can see that I'm just wondering um, if there is a mentor who's willing to teach someone what they know. It's like it's like it's essentially apprenticeship. It's essentially an apprenticeship uh, of becoming a consistently profitable day trader because it takes time. And the reality is the mentor has already crossed that bridge with proven statistical and monthly, weekly, monthly, and yearly strings of consistency that generates profit. Once that is achieved, the person can be a mentor to another individual. And mentoring means being able to discuss certain parts of the whole picture as a day trader. And that in itself is a statistical guarantee that once the information has been absorbed and has been programmed into the mind and the muscle memory, then that is a formula for a successful uh, replication of the mentor. And right now, um, right now, for an individual who wish to reverse engineer from ground up, despite the fact that there's so much information out there, it is a tough road to get to become a consistently profitable day trader. As I look and peer into the YouTube channels, and I see that there are lots of useful information. The lots of useful informations are useful for a particular level of understanding. Once a person is above a certain echelon of understanding, then that plethora of information becomes essentially a resistance. Because an individual who needs to progress above has to weed through all the information that is out there. And so, mentor is a very, very important part of day trading. And for somebody who's like me, and mentors require certain individuals to to place a certain amount of money to purchase their time. And as an individual who, I'm just wondering, I'm just trying to put myself in the shoes of a mentor. What is it in for the mentor, essentially? I mean, think about this. It's like one individual is going to be essentially between $2,000 to maybe $5,000. That's each person will generate approximately about $2,000 to $5,000 in revenue for the mentor. So if the mentor has about 100 students, that is approximately at about 3,500 per person. So 3,500 times 100 individuals, adding a couple zeros, right? 3,500, a couple add zeros. So what is that? That's 4 zeros. That's 4 zeros, right? 000. So that's approximately about $350,000 just for 100 people. All right, 300. Let me do my math here. Make sure. Again, I'm a very simple guy, so understanding what mentorship means is essentially looking at just looking at these things. So if I do the math, 100 times 350, 350, which is $350,000. So if I have 1,000 students, that could be $3.5 million. 1,000 students. If I'm able to mentor 1,000 students, that would equate to about a $3.5 million. Once I get to a certain point, but acquiring that many individuals to day trading is not easy. The S&B Capital has, I think they have about 3 different training programs. The first one usually is on the program for $2,000. The next step is, I think it's called trading setups. I think that's what it is. There's a trading DNA, which is about $2,000. And then there's a next one, which is trading setups, which essentially is at about $5,000. And then there's another training session, I think, that is several $1,000s as well. So essentially, getting to the point of mastery and several years of understanding and studying those programs requires about $10,000 in order to get there, and years of actual experience. So as I study here, and I'm getting to the point where I realize mentorship is a critical ingredient in becoming a consistently profitable day trader. It really is. And if I am smart, which I am not, okay, I am not smart. And yet, see, if you're smart, you would forgo that and you would study and then be consistently profitable. But if you're dumb like me, I should be buying those programs and then getting a leg up in understanding. But if I'm dumb, which means that I would forego those trainings and then not and keep studying on my own, it just takes longer and longer. So, so if I was a mentor, how would I mentor somebody, right? I'm thinking in terms of that perspective now, and so mentor. So how do I become a mentor? How do I become a mentor? I become a mentor by establishing a proven track record. Once I have a proven track record, then I could take what I am, formulate it, and then package it up in a format that is sequential, and then use that to mentor another person. That's how it works. And so if I were to do that, then firstly, I need to establish that I am a consistently profitable day trader. So that's where this journey begins. That's where this journey is. And I'm looking at a couple of price action videos, okay? I have to admit, I looked at them and it still doesn't make sense. Because these are videos. These are videos that are being done to cover all the bases, and it doesn't make sense to me. What seems to make sense with essentially what all, to me, all things that are trainable is essentially there's a flat line of ignorance. There's plethora of information is there, but it's still there, and it's not formulated until I get to a point where I understand that. So in order for me to understand it, I have to take a streamline point straight up to the point, and then as an example, at a single stream of concept, and then formulate it and achieve a level of that plateau. Then I discover what's there within that plateau. What is difficult about recorded videos is that I cannot ask them questions. I cannot ask them questions and say, hey, I study this, I still don't understand it. But what they say in response in email is, well, you have to have actual experience and actual time in the market to understand what these materials are, right? So essentially, the missing ingredient is the mentor that provides feedback on the content that is being provided. That is, they make the videos so that it covers all the bases, but there's something that is missing from these videos, which is essentially the mentorship that pieces all these together and it formulates it to create a main idea, essentially price action, right? Price action. There's a technical chart formation that is one discipline. Price action is another form of means of trading, and that can be used purely by itself in order to make consistent returns in capital and trading. So I'm reviewing the price action from UK spread betting, and it so what I need to do is to understand all the materials, define what they are, and then allow my brain to piece together what they really mean. Then because I can look at all these materials, but it doesn't form a concrete understanding, the overall summary of what price action really is. So right now I'm studying price action, and price action seems to be essentially what I have been doing as a day trader. And I look forward to I I look forward to receiving the gift from heaven above in understanding what price action is. And I'm fortunate that I received a email from my Catholic deacon who has saved my life. I would have to say, see, I gave blood. I must have given blood like 5 or 6 times, and apparently, uh, within like in like 2017 or 2018, while I was working at Micron, and after I got laid off from Micron, I still gave blood. So each time I give blood, apparently it saves 3 people. So I must have saved about 15 people, and saving those people, it seems that my life. Think about this. I was in Orlando, unemployed. I knew nobody. Somebody put a big fat bolt into my tire, and I was like, I'm spending like $100 to repair. I mean, repair this tire, right? When I'm like unemployed and I have no money, and I would soon be like out of the apartment and I'd be homeless, right? So that's where I was, and I'm thinking to myself, where was I? Okay. So there I was, and then my life was saved, because that's one life that I was saved. I came here, so that's how it works, okay? And then now this legal thing about my attorney told me, he said, your supervised probation officer will take care of everything for you. I believed him. Little did I know, when they're gonna take care of it, they're gonna take me to court and threaten me with something. So he's right. I don't know. I'm not a lawyer. I've never dealt with it, and I have to be very honest. Um, I loathe having to deal with the legal system. They're perfectly great people. They know what they're doing. That's their way of life. I have no problem with that. It's just that when I'm involved in it, it usually means that I'll usually fork out my time, like months and months and years, or every penny that I have. That's what legal system is doing to me, and so that's why I loathe it, and I'm attempting to avoid myself and detach myself, uh, and I see it as the devil using the legal system to undermine my stability, and so that's why I loathe the legal system, and I attempt to allow those individuals who are living in that world to help me deal with this situation, such that so that I can avoid being involved in any part of it whatsoever. I want to see my hands. I just wash my hands. See, I wash my hands. Okay, it's clean. I want to keep it that way. So, and I pray that the Batman movie that I saw like a couple days ago, I hope God removes that flavor of mankind's uh, despicality and make it as pure as possible and make it amicable. So So mentorship is something that maybe I need to do. I need to see, okay, so I've concluded this. I've concluded that mentorship is a essential part of becoming a consistently profitable day trader. Either I get mentored by somebody else or I have to mentor myself. It's essentially, I was on Twitter when I began this journey and attempted to acquire friendship with other individuals who are consistently profitable, right? That's a smart thing to do. That's the smart thing to do. Become friends with individuals who are consistently profitable so that by becoming friends with them, that they will bestow knowledge upon me so that I can shorten the learning curve and focus on the things that I need to study in order to become consistently profitable. So this avenue, look at me. I'm an introvert. I'm a convicted felon of grand theft. I have no money. I have my kids left me. My ex-wife left me twice. Hopefully she'll leave me for the third time, but hopefully it'll be after a long period of, right? I heard third time is a charm, and day trading is the key to everything. So the other avenue is that I have to mentor myself. I have to mentor myself. Even if I join UK spread betting, I cannot be like shaking the tree because they'll immediately kick me out of the club. Okay, I have to be very conscious of that. That's why they say, hey, we don't want desperate people in here. We're a mature, experienced traders who are congregated into this club in order to mutually move in the right direction. They don't want individuals who are desperate, because people who are like sold their car and mortgaged their house and lost everything and they're trying to get it back, they can be incredibly desperate. Do you know why I know that? Because I've been there. Yeah. So now here I am. So now that leaves with one option. Okay. See, I know for a fact Jesus Christ. I'm with him. So I know he's there. So he provides a clear instruction, clear, concrete and firm. Not a single shred of the doubt. And he said this: if you seek, you shall find. That's what he said. Okay? That is an ironclad statement from heaven above. Have I made my point? So, isn't it? Right? He said, what was it, Matthew something? I used to remember the numbers, but it's in Matthew. And Jesus Christ says this: if you seek, you shall find. That's what he said. God, the Creator, Almighty. That's what he said. So now, I know that the mentor, he's my mentor, right? And so now that's the mentor. Now, so I have a mentor who is Jesus Christ, and a mentor who essentially has programs out there, but it's difficult to understand. I'm studying them, but I need this Jesus Christ to guide me in that direction, and he's the mentor of all things. So now I have to form within me this mentor who will teach me myself to become a consistently profitable day trader. And I've reached a certain point now where I'm discussing the upper level of understanding and getting into topics like capital management, trade management, price action, stop losses, uh, R&R, ATRs, uh, trends, uh, and support and resistance, and calls and puts. Okay, some of these are rudimentary, and now I'm attempting to mash them together and fuse them together into a concrete understanding of what it is that day trading is, and mentoring myself to understand how these pieces fit together. All these pieces that were like scattered everywhere now they're being like formed. It's called terraforming, right? Something like terraforming. And so piecing all this together into a concrete understanding of this blob now, these things are interconnected. Uh, when I was working in Orlando, Florida, the boss, he says, "Hey, you're working too hard, and you might burn out." I told him, "Well, when I burn, I turn into a diamond." And so the path that I'm taking at this point is to become truly linked together, crushed together under immense pressure, and combine all these concepts, mash them together into a crystal clear, hard substance, carbon-based life form. Right? Essentially, it's carbon. Diamond is carbon. Carbon crushed together, crushed under immense heat and pressure to turn into a non-inclusive, pristine, just pure a diamond. When that happens, I would have achieved a level of consistency that allows me to be in the practice of making money from the market. And then at that point, that I am truly a professional with a profession in the world of Wall Street, and I become a consistently profitable day trader. Now, this mentorship, whether I knew it or not, has been going on all this time. Okay, so now the next step I've clearly laid out the foundation for. And before, just like Jesus Christ, right? When I first embarked on this journey, I would go to church and I would know nothing about it. I would like follow family members, and I would just sit there. I wouldn't know anything about it because I was like dirt. It's like a lint, a ball of lint, just following along in somebody's pocket, and then going to church, and then and then the awareness of Jesus Christ turned that lint ball into me, a minor character in a big story of Jesus Christ. Now, then along came a pastor who said, "This is the greatest moment of your life. In the presence of Jesus Christ and having the privilege to receive Jesus Christ into your life. And it'll forever transform you, ball of lint, into man in the image of God." So, now, after that, then why am I telling this? Because this is my channel, and maybe one day my daughter and my son, and maybe my ex-wife will watch this and know the story behind why I walked into a Catholic church in 2016, and now going on 6 years now, 6 years since I became a Catholic, that I am devoted to be a faithful Catholic. And I pray that I will forever be within Him, within this Catholic faith. So, and then I went through the RCIA program and essentially became a full-fledged Catholic. So that's where the story is. Now, mentorship. How do I mentor myself? That is the question. How do I've come this far. How do I mentor myself? The reason why there's some good news. Okay, that's why I'm like making this video. The reality is, a few days ago, the probation officer handed me this paperwork saying, okay, you need to show up for court for not paying restitution. And I told him straight out, I said, he probably had a body cam, right? And I told him, look, the previous probation supervisor was working on something, but I've never received anything because I used to make a lot of money. Now I don't. So obviously the court has my pay stubs. You need to change it so that I can figure out how much I have to pay. So I was waiting for it. And he says, well, keep out of trouble. And he said, well, and I responded, I said, I'm a law-abiding citizen. And he said, oh, good news. So here I am. Then I contacted my criminal attorney. Now he told me that the probation officer would take care of everything. That's why I believed him. And I was like, okay, I don't have to worry about anything. I just have to live fully a law-abiding citizen, and I don't have to worry about this. And I'll just do my time, it'll be done, and I'll go back to society 8 years from now. But there's some complications. Now, I contacted that criminal attorney, and he responded yesterday. He said he was in and out of rooms or something like that, and so that is a load of relief. Okay, so it's like let's put it this way. It's like this, okay? A spaceship I am in has thousands of buttons, and every one of them has the possibility of changing the course of that spaceship. And that spaceship is directly pointed into the center of the sun. The spaceship will burn up at a certain diameter, certain radius away from the sun. And this lawyer knows out of the combination. See, okay, so Warren Buffett has this. There's 64 teams in the March Madness, and he says that he'll give like $1 million or something when somebody figures out who wins and what, right? So there's only 64 teams, but the combinations are so complex. Okay, just like chess. Initially, at the beginning, there's how many pieces? So you got eight, that's 16. So that's 64 pieces, right? 64 pieces, and the combination is so complex. So there's thousands of buttons within the spaceship, and this lawyer knows how many buttons in what sequence and what timing needs to be done in order to navigate out of that movement in that spaceship. And that requires years of experience as a lawyer. And he says, oh yeah, what time do you want me to call you next week? So that's a load of relief. That's good news. Then the second good news is my Catholic deacon, who's saved my life multiple times, and says, he probably knows what's going to happen. I have to catch up with the restitution, but that number has to be adjusted. So even with the adjustment, what I have currently in my bank account is not going to be sufficient And so he said, with a good news is, we will cover that for you. All right? He already knows what's going to happen. And he said, we will cover that for you. So that's good news number 3. So essentially, there are 14 or 15 things that I need to be aware of. One of them is I can't pull out a credit card because apparently something. I'm not sure what it is, but I can't even acquire a credit card. That's apparently that happens when you're a convicted felon of a grand theft. So, so I followed all the rules. See, me working here, I live in a very simple life by studying day trading when I'm not working at Westside or sleeping. I think one of those people at the house smokes inside the house, and so I have this like really. I feel like I smoked like 10 packs of cigarettes or something. Every time I wake up, I think one of the person is in the room smoking instead of going outside because it's too cold, I think. I have an air purifier, but it's not doing the job because I have to open up the door. The room is 9 by 9, okay? And so if I'm inside the 9 by 9 room with the doors closed, the oxygen will be depleted within 1 hour. So I have to leave the door ajar so the fresh air comes in. But the fresh air is tainted with cigarettes. And so when I wake up, my lung feels like it smoked like 10 packs of cigarettes. So those are the good news. That allows me to focus. That allows me to focus and truly focus on mentoring myself to become a consistently profitable day trader. I know that the devil will see, I have at least 8 years before I free myself from those 2 former siblings. Okay? Could you just imagine? Logically speaking, these used to be the siblings that I used to have, and they're persecuting me. And one of them is married to a Catholic too. That is odd, huh? Isn't that really weird? So here I am. I tell you what, that's like biblical. You have these former siblings who are so hateful. It's like was it Joseph or something? Joseph, out of like so many siblings. Now he was the youngest and the favorite of the father. And then they went to town, and then what they do is before they return, they sold him to a gypsy, right? And then he was sold to a gypsy because they hated him. That's what we're talking about. We're talking about biblical stuff here. Well, fortunately, I think in the Bible, what happens is that he correctly predicts what's going to happen with the the cows or something, right? So 7-7, right? 7 years of bounty and 7 years of famine. That's how it's going to be, right? And so, and eventually turns out to be a very consistently profitable day trader. So that is the last hurdle. Once I take care of that legal thing with this restitution thing, then I can focus, because it'll be automatic. That the amount will be set. When I was an engineer, I was making this much money, but I make now this much money, which means whatever restitution that was assigned needs to be adjusted, okay? So that at least I can put some clothes on my back, right? And then when I fall down on ice, hurt my elbow right there, right? Maybe I could get some buffet to heal this up. So, mentorship is going to be, it's a mentorship. I have to mentor myself. Even if there is a mentor who's mentoring me, I have to receive that mentorship and process it. Um, Boy, I feel like I smoked like 10 packs of cigarettes. I needed, wow. Whoever, okay. There's two other people in there. I think one of them is a smoker. And he's just, and he's, it's, yeah. Anyway. So what I have to do is when I go to sleep, I have to open the door for like maybe an hour and then let all fresh air come in. But if you start smoking at midnight, then that could cause the air to be tainted and then flow through. Maybe I'll go to Costco and get this gigantic air purifier and just put it in one of the living room. Maybe that's the only way to do that. So he can smoke all he wants. So, mentorship. Now the mentorship is going to be, that's what I need to do, this mentorship. It's a mentorship. It's a mentorship that I need to mentor myself. So this path is going to be, so the three parts of this mentorship is essentially knowing which direction I need to go. And based on the data that I have some data here. And the data tells me that I need to perform these three things. I heard from S&P Capital is that the right stock is going to alleviate anything. However, even selecting the right stock is going to require trade management. And that trade management is going to require yeah. So essentially what's going to happen is I have to implement the stop loss. The stop loss is going to allow me the opportunity to preserve my trades when I'm in a losing situation. And the second part is selecting the right stock with the right pieces. That is going to help. Okay. So what I need to do is based on looking at the trend. I have to look at the trend. So if generally speaking, when the market is trending down, okay, I need to be looking for a thesis that implements a downward trajectory. What happens when it's on a downward trajectory? There will be a point where the stock will spike. When it spikes, then I need to get into it and then have a thesis that has a mindset of continuing that trend and take advantage of that situation. So essentially what happens, there will be a period where it does this, and I need to get into this period at this moment. Then I can write it down because that is a trend. But when the stock is going up, then generally what it will do is it'll dip a little bit and then it'll continue on its trajectory. And I need to look for that particular situation. And this simple strategy, surrounded by these stop losses and trade management and selecting the right stock, will allow me to make great gains. And these 80 to 90 instances where I would make a month of gain and then just immediately lose everything within 2 to 3 days, essentially will be eradicated from my trading vocabulary. So I look forward to mentoring myself. Initially, it was blind leading the blind. I mentioned that on Twitter, and one of the individuals said, "Oh, you're essentially leading the blind, right?" Because I have a trading buddy who's also step by step moving in the direction, but I believe he's already achieved a consistency at this point. So he's already there, but his method is different than my method. So I'm perfecting my method. So that's where this mentorship is at this moment. And I believe I am in the right direction. Hopefully, that cigarette smoking is taken care of. I hope. It's uh, causing a great amount of irritation in my lungs. Um, yeah, yeah.